So it's no longer a school building. Rather, it's home education. Your home could be in the country, it could be in the town, whatever it might be. You have gone from the public school building to home. Now let's take that a little bit further, those home pictures. And some people are going to commit one room in their home to being the place to educate their children. I prefer to encourage parents to say that home education happens throughout your whole home, whether you're baking in the kitchen or you're sitting in the lounge or sitting at the table having a meal. Education is taking place all the time. So there isn't a classroom in your home because your whole world becomes your classroom, your garden, your entire home, the garage when a project's happening. So everything is a classroom if you want to call it that, but I would prefer to suggest that you take classroom out of your thinking, out of your reference, and see your whole home as the place of learning for your family. In our instance, we had a little pathway that led us out to this little cabin because we separated a little bit. So it's not as though it all has, some people say, well, they need that separation to create routine and structure. And there's a danger in that because now perhaps you're trying to copy the school reference in your mind and squeeze it into your home somehow. However, I do understand the separation is sometimes works for some families. And so we had this little cabin in the garden, and that's where we went, particularly for the purpose of not creating a classroom, but more for the purpose of separating to a quiet place where we wouldn't be interrupted by phones and comings and goings, and particularly that we could focus on our Bible study time there and arts and crafts and enjoy this really dedicated, focused time together. That was the purpose of us having some time of our education day, our learning day, happening in the garden in this little cabin. So instead of your picture of being at home and home education looking like this as an example of a library at school, it looks like this rather. So now suddenly your home library starts to grow and starts to develop and expand, and it's not going to look like the school library, and you can't have all the books that were at the school library. So you start with a few and you just slowly expand, and every book you buy, you know you're adding it to your own home library. It's not a library at the school, it's a library in your home. Instead of the classroom looking like this, or the learning environment looking like this with lots of children, it could look like this, with your children sitting on their beds doing learning. Or perhaps they're going to be sitting outside at the picnic table and working on the computer, on the laptop, or whichever it might be. But it's not this anymore. This picture here is what it's not. It's rather this little desk in the corner of a room, or perhaps working straight there on the bed. A desk isn't even actually really necessary. But again, it depends on the individual. It depends on the student and how they work best. One child's going to like this, having their own little corner and space and place to organize their learning.